everybody. Welcome to Learning the Scottish Great Highland Bagpipe with me, J.D. Ingram, pipe major of the Charleston Pipe Band. This week we're going to be learning
Lesson 11, the D throw. Your goal is to be able to play a heavy D throw accurately and also understand how the embellishment fits into the music rhythmically. We'll focus on how the D throw differs from other embellishments we've learned so far. We'll try playing the first bar of the Brown Haired Maiden and some more of Amazing Grace. Your homework will be to memorize the music we've learned so far. Extra resources can be found in Beginning the Bagpipe by Sandy Jones, page 22, or the College of Piping Tutor Part 1, pages 25 and 26. In the past, we've learned about doublings. They're an embellishment where two grace notes are played on a theme note. The theme note is written as an extra third grace note in the middle, but it's actually shorthand for a real note, sort of. A different kind of embellishment is a low note focused embellishment, and the first one we're going to learn is the D throw. You can see it written here. The note prior to the D throw can be basically any note. The ending note is always a D though. The way it's written, with a low G grace note, a D grace note, and a C grace note, you might assume, if you were reading it the same that you would read a doubling, would be that the D is your shorthand real note, and you're starting it with a low G shake and following it with a C shake. But this is actually the opposite of the truth. In low note focused embellishments, we focus on the lower note in the embellishment. So in this example, you're playing an A before the D throw. Then you have a wind up low G where you close down, and this is a shorthand real note. You play a D grace note on the beat up to a C, and then you open up to D. Carrying out the D throw in this manner is what's called the light or the open D throw. Try it out.
Okay, we're going to try some D throws. So, as mentioned, we've practiced the doublings where it's shorthand for a grace note and then a real note quickly, and then a grace note, and then you have the actual theme note. The D throw is backwards, so this is shorthand for a wind up real note, a grace note to another real note, and then you open to the theme note. So the light D throw is played, I'm going to play it from a low A. We have our wind up low G, we have a D grace note to C, and then we open to D. I'll try that slowly. Again. A little quicker. And that can come from any note. Obviously from low G, you don't have to close to low G, so you would just go. You'd have the last half of it. But from any other note, B, C, and all the way up to high A. From any note, always ends on D though. So try that out a couple times. Get comfortable with the three-step rhythm. You've got your lead-in note, and then you've got G, grace note to C, D, and get good at that. And then check out next the heavy D throw.
D throws are almost always written how you saw them before, as a light D throw, but a lot of people actually replace them with what's known as the heavy or the closed D throw. You don't have to necessarily rewrite the music to know that this is an optional embellishment that you can put in its place. The heavy D throw adds a second low G after the D grace note. So as before, you're playing a note, you close to your wind up low G, but then instead of playing a D grace note to C, you play a D grace note back to low G. Then you open to C, then you open up to D. Some people prefer this because of the extra richness created by a double low G.
All right, so we're going to try some heavy D throws now. The heavy D throw is a shorthand that is, it's actually very rarely ever written out. It's almost always going to see written a light D throw, but some people will substitute the heavy D throw on purpose. I typically do this, especially in march music. In slow airs, I will maybe go back or forth, playing the light D throw or the heavy D throw. Kind of just depends on the tune. But the heavy D throw is a good one to practice. It takes a little longer to master, but basically what we do is we add another step. So we've got the low G, we've got the D grace note, but instead of going up to C, it's the D grace note back to a second low G, then clean open up to C, then clean open up to D. So it's a 4-step process. I'll play it from low A first. So your lead-in note, and then G, grace note to G, C, D, 4 steps. And that again can be played from any note. And from low G, you just start at the D grace note. But you want to keep that bum bum ba ba theme, that rhythm flowing. In the long run, once you've really mastered it and you're always consistently getting that low G separation nice and clean, it'll sound almost like a guitar strum. Right? But that shouldn't be anytime soon. I really want you to just focus on always going nice and slow and controlled for at least like a month or two, if not longer. So you can really practice having those good low G sounds. Between the heavy D throw and the light D throw, I'm not super picky about which one you do, as long as the execution of them is good and clean. I personally prefer the heavy D throw, but it's up to you which one you want to really focus on mastering. And just make sure you've got a good low G sound. That's probably the most important sound. A crisp grace note, and clean up onto D. Cool.
Now let's try some D throws in context. Here's a sample phrase of music, the opening phrase of the Brown Haired Maiden. You'll see that they're written all as light D throws, but you can try them out as heavy D throws as well, just to practice.
Okay, we're going to try the sample tune. This is just 2 phrases, or 2 bars, 1 phrase of a tune called the Brown Haired Maiden that we will learn before too terribly long. And it's got 3 D throws in fairly quick succession together. I'm going to just play it nice and slow and controlled with heavy D throws that are nice and open, so you can practice along. It goes. And it goes on after that into the rest of the tune, but that's a good spot to practice a lot of D throws together. Try it out a couple times, nice and slow. Up to speed, it'll sound something like this. So you can shoot for that, but don't worry about it too much. Just practice your D throws, and you'll be ready for the tune when it comes. Cool, guys.
Thanks for joining me again. Some final thoughts for you. Keep practicing the D throws slowly and with control. It's very easy to try to rush through them and end up with very inconsistent and poor sounding D throws. Review your supplemental materials, beginning the Bagpipe by Sandy Jones, page 22, or the College of Piping Tutor, part 1, pages 31 and 32.